What happens when a social media beauty mogul discovers that the picture-perfect empire she built on likes and rapid expansion is actually fracturing from within? Join us as we follow the transformative journey of Morgan Reynolds, founder of Glow Up Beauty Studios, who learned that true success isn't measured in followers and location count, but in the authentic connections we foster and the lives we genuinely improve. Morgan Reynolds scrolled through her latest Instagram post, showcasing the sleek interior of her newest salon. The caption read, "12th location of Glow Up Beauty Studios, now open in Nashville. #Beauty Empire, #BossBabe, under 30 success." The post had already garnered over 10,000 likes and hundreds of comments praising her meteoric rise in the beauty industry. At just 28, Morgan had accomplished what most entrepreneurs twice her age could only dream of. Starting with a small salon in Seattle using her grandmother's inheritance and a business degree fresh out of college, she had leveraged social media and a keen understanding of millennial beauty trends to rapidly expand 12 locations across the Pacific Northwest and now into the South. Her salons were known for their Instagram-perfect aesthetics, trending services, and a client base full of influencers and young professionals. But as she sat alone in her downtown Seattle apartment that evening, surrounded by awards from business magazines that had featured her as a 30 under 30 inches success story, Morgan felt strangely empty. Habitually scrolling through the comments under a post, she suddenly froze. One message made her heart skip a beat. "Your salon photos are stunning. Great job editing. But let me tell you what's not in those perfect pictures. Your stylists look exhausted and beaten down. Last week, I watched my best friend cry in her car after her shift because her manager screamed at her for spending too much time with an elderly client. Maybe it's time to focus less on your aesthetic and more on your people." Morgan's thumb hovered over the delete button, her usual response to negative comments. But something stopped her. Was there truth to this? She thought about the increasing staff turnover rate her HR director had mentioned last quarter, the growing number of complaints that her COO, Valerie, had been handling, about how her original team, the people she started this journey with, one by one silently left the company. For the first time in years, she opened the employee reports folder on her laptop, a task she'd always delegated to her management team. What she found disturbed her. Employee satisfaction scores had plummeted across all locations. Exit interviews cited toxic culture and impossible standards repeatedly. Despite the flashy Instagram photos, customers rarely came back for a second visit. Just as troubling were the private messages from former employees she discovered when she checked the company's filtered social media inbox. Former employees poured out stories of burnout, described being forced to rush through services to meet daily quotas, and revealed how management had scolded them for dedicating extra time to clients who needed more care. Morgan barely slept that night. The next morning, instead of heading to corporate headquarters, she walked into her original Seattle salon unannounced, wearing jeans, a baseball cap, and a sweatshirt instead of her usual power suit. What she saw shocked her. The salon manager, Devin, was berating a young stylist in front of clients. "That's the third time this week you've gone over your allotted time slot. What, you think time slots mean nothing here? This isn't a charity, it's a business. One more slip-up and you're done." The stylist, whose name tag read Alexa, was blinking back tears as her client, an elderly woman, patted her hand reassuringly. Morgan stepped forward. "Devin, I need to speak with you, now." In the back office, Devin was unapologetic. "Morgan, you've built this brand on efficiency and image. Your own business model says each service has a strict time limit so we can maximize daily revenue. I'm just enforcing the standards you created." The worst part was, he was right. In her drive to scale quickly, Morgan had implemented rigid systems that prioritized volume over quality, social media optics over genuine client relationships. She had built a beautiful facade with a crumbling foundation. "Devin, Effective immediately, you're suspended pending an investigation into your management style, Morgan said firmly. And I have a lot of thinking to do about the standards I've created. Over the next week, Morgan visited all 12 locations incognito, observing operations and quietly interviewing staff. The pattern was clear. Her growth at all costs mentality had created a monster. Stylists were unhappy, clients weren't returning, and the authentic passion that had launched her first salon was nowhere to be found. In her Bellevue flagship location, she watched as a stylist named Jordan broke the rules, spending extra time with a teenager who was clearly struggling with self-image issues. When the salon manager approached with a stern expression on his face, Jordan stood firm. "This client needs more than a haircut today. Fire me if you want, but I'm going to finish this properly." Noticing at a newly opened salon in Nashville how the strict service menu left little room for creativity or customization, she was wary. When the bride-to-be left in tears after a hasty consultation where her wishes were ignored, Morgan realized she'd had enough. She cancelled her appearances at 3 major beauty influencer events and instead called an emergency company-wide virtual meeting. With all 12 location managers and key staff watching, Morgan did something unprecedented. She apologized. "I lost my way," she admitted, her voice shaking slightly. "I became so focused on growth and appearance that I forgot what made our first salon special, genuine care for our clients and our team. Starting today, everything changes." The changes were swift and dramatic. First, Morgan fired 4 managers who had the most complaints about toxic behavior, including Devin. She personally called former employees who had left under their management, offering them their jobs back with improved conditions. She scrapped the rigid service time limits and implemented a new scheduling system that allowed proper time for consultations and personalized care. Performance metrics were completely revamped. Client satisfaction and rebooking rates now mattered more than volume or speed. In the most radical change, she put expansion plans on hold and instead invested $2 million in staff development, an improved benefits package, and a salon renovation focused on comfort, not just Instagram appeal. It introduced a discount system for loyal customers, as well as preferential services to those loyal customers who had fallen on hard times. The company's social media strategy shifted dramatically too. Instead of perfectly filtered photos, they began showcasing real transformations, stylist stories, and behind-the-scenes content that highlighted the human connection in their work. These changes weren't without pain. Revenue dropped significantly in the first quarter. 2 major investors pulled out, calling her decisions reckless and naive. Fashion magazines that had once featured her questioned if she was having a breakdown. The carefully curated image of perfect success she had built began to crack. But Morgan remained resolute. "We're building something sustainable now, not just something that photographs well," she told her remaining team. "And honestly, I can finally sleep at night." Slowly, something remarkable began to happen. Staff turnover plummeted. Client retention soared. The authentic content strategy actually began outperforming their old polished approach, resonating with an audience tired of perfection. Former clients returned, bringing friends. 6 months after beginning her transformation, Morgan sat in her first salon in Seattle, observing the natural rhythm of genuinely happy stylists and satisfied clients. Alexa was now the best employee at this location, not because she was rushing through appointments, but because her clients were boundlessly loyal to her. Jordan, the Bellevue stylist who had stood his ground, now led a new mentorship program. The teenager he had taken extra time with had become a regular client and had written a touching letter about how that appointment had helped her through a severe depression. Even more surprising was the financial result. Although the business did not grow as rapidly, it became more profitable. Without the constant turnover of staff and the cost of bringing in new customers to replace those lost, the actual profit of each outlet increased significantly. A year later, Morgan was asked to speak at her alma mater's business school. Students expected tales of rapid scaling and social media dominance. Instead, she shared a different kind of success story. "I built a beautiful house of cards that looked perfect in photos but couldn't stand up to even a breeze," she told them. "Now we're building a structure on a solid foundation: human relationships, genuine care, and a sensible approach to business. It doesn't look as flashy in the Instagram feed, but it has incomparably more value." She showed them 2 photos: an old, sophisticated, immaculate salon interior next to a current shot of stylists and clients laughing together in a warm, cozy environment. The first photo garnered more likes. The second one created a business that will survive any trend. As for that negative comment that had sparked her awakening, Morgan had reached out to the writer personally, invited her and her best friend in, and listened to their feedback. That commenter was now the head of their newly formed client advisory board, helping them keep on top of every customer review. Business magazines are still writing about Morgan Reynolds, but now for a different reason. Not as the creator of the fastest-growing beauty empire, but as a young entrepreneur who had the courage to sacrifice growth for meaning and ultimately find the true essence of success. Her company's new motto speaks for itself: "Beauty is deeper than appearances, and so is our business." That's it. The story of how a young beauty entrepreneur realized that true success isn't measured in likes and location count alone. It's a reminder to all of us that the most valuable insights come when we step away from our screens and truly connect with the people we serve. If Morgan's story resonates with you, please join us for many more inspiring stories of leaders who have discovered what really matters beneath the surface. See you soon.